There's a lot of predictability in zero.
Yep, you can plan on zero.
You go bank on it.
Zero.
Kathy, I know you've done, or the committee in general has done great jobs in terms of getting the buses working towards we're on more of a common shared expenditure, but is this the opportunity or a time to look at what are some other areas to do collective bargaining agreements or some other shared services? Or
It is the time. There's no question about that. That's coming up in the on the agenda under shared services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although we put a tremendous amount of time and effort in working to be part of the statewide out-of-district busing, and
according to the charts, we're going to get $12,000. We're going to save $12,000.
ooh, wonder if I divided that out in administrative time that we put
I know.
into
I know.
into the data and the reporting, and Gwen is still doing that now. Not a big save.
The chairs of the Shared Services Roundtable have been, well, specifically the chair of the East Greenwich School Committee has been having a conversation with Julia Steine, because Julia Steine in last week's Projo had a,
Yes.
heaping praise upon, all the many ways that we could save money doing things statewide. So the chair of East Greenwich sent a letter just sort of saying, well, let's step back a minute and let's actually look at the reality here.
Mm-hmm.
So Julia Steine has been calling RIDE this week.
And do another report and her numbers.
And talking with them about this, and she's going to also look at the food service question and why Aramark is not bidding on things. Aramark is, in fact, for East Greenwich, they were coming in at a even though they promised that there would be a surplus, or that there would, the worst case scenario be, break even. In their very first year, there's a deficit. So they had to work out a plan to have a 3-year contract so that Aramark could work off this deficit. But that now commits East G to Aramark for 3 years. It's just not something we want to do. Anyway.
And also,
So our bus contract is up. And, do we want to look at doing less busing? I mean, we would have to make that decision fairly early on.
What do you mean doing less busing?
I mean, busing, expanding the limit of the students that we are actually providing transportation to school. We have more kids walking.
Oh,
I see that. I see. I think it's already a mile, right? It's a mile. Yeah, it's already a mile, which is far enough.
Okay, that's fine. But,
But it's 2 miles when I was a kid.
yeah,
it was
it's a mile and a
7
half.
miles. 7 miles uphill.
Is it legal to offer busing as a service, like that people would pay for?
They did in Cape Cod.
In Massachusetts,
Yeah,
you can't.
Can you do
You know, there's a law that says this is the minimum that you
Right.
at the elementary level, but there's no law on middle school, high school. You don't have to bus your middle school unless you're a region. But you can offer it and charge a fee for that. But I'm still not clear in Rhode Island what you can and can't.
Because we haven't been at all successful in persuading people to take the bus rather than drive, right? Do we have any increase in bus ridership?
Bus
this year?
ridership for you this year?
After all the new traffic
Yeah,
patterns
the
and all that
traffic,
stuff?
did you notice it?
I think we've always had about 80% on the bus. Julie, is that what you're
80%
thinking?
of the kids.
It seems a lot better because, we made changes to the flow, so there's 3 different points. Somewhat of an increase, but how did you figure out that data? Did you actually count heads?
Counted.
Maybe we need to do that. I'll
For a few weeks of running, just to get a sense of average.
The problem is with people riding, you can't eliminate a bus because
Where
maybe
they
next
are,
week they don't drive.
Yes.
Unless they wrote off their right to a ride for their
Right.
kids, which
Right.
is not likely.
Which, if it's a fee service, if it's a fee-based service, people are more likely, if they pay for it, then they will use it. And if you don't pay for it and you eliminate the service, they don't have the option.
It's a moot point
If
until we
state
determine
law,
whether
yes,
we do
state
it or
law.
not.
Can you do things like making fewer bus stops so the routes don't have to be quite as extensive as lengthy, for them to streamline it, so?
We have a wonderful person who analyzes that and, strategically places those bus stops and continues to analyze, could we reduce a bus? And that's why I think we're not saving any money in statewide, because we were very tight, you know, and efficient.
And I think it needs to be noted at the school committee chair meeting, there were 26, I believe that there were 26 schools represented, school districts represented. And when the discussion came up about the bus, you know, the shared services and busing, there was only one, as I recall, one school system that did not say, oh my God, it's costing us, you know, Francis costing us $250,000 more.
No, most of them were seeing less savings than they had been promised, as versus.
Well, if Cranston was, it cost them more to run it. She explained that. The state service, right, in Cranston. Most of them were saying that, no, we didn't see any savings, or we certainly didn't come close to the savings. It was only, I can't remember who it was, there was one school district that said that that actually saved them money.
6 figures savings. I don't remember which, it's one of the larger ones.
So then horrendously inefficient prior to this, is that the conclusion?
I don't know.
That is a conclusion. Certainly point of starting point.
But it'd be worth looking into what does state law say? Do we have any options? Not necessarily that we would employ the option, but do we have any?
As you know, we've looked into lots of various scenarios. Could we save money here? Could we save money there?
Basically everything that isn't the
I mean,
educational
as far as energy goes, every year we've gotten more and more efficient. Right now, we've got every other light in the hallways turned off to reduce our consumption. It's Lou said, I don't think I can do anything else to reduce our usage.
Well, I was just talking with Lou the other day about heating in general. Like, for example, there's not much you can do in this building. I mean, single story, spread out, the Bauhaus style, you know, the mid-50s and so forth. It's just, it's totally inefficient building to heat. So, I mean, you know, the same.
You can get it as efficient as
absolutely,
possible.
and I'm sure that Lou's gotten it as efficient as possible. There's no doubt in my mind. However, there's only so much to be saved here. One of the things I did like the budget books that were prepared very much, and I would.
It was so
it
clear.
was very helpful to me, especially if it's going to be a little harder to read it with the new priority guide. Anything we can help, Jane?
As much as we can.
I look forward to this.
Excellent.
Does that answer your questions on the budget? We can come back to the shared services under the shared services
Sure.
agenda item.
But we also just wanted you to review, Jana put together a draft budget schedule that should be in your tonight's package. And this does provide us an extra week. You know, pushes things from last year, pushes things up a week. But there were just a couple of things that I wanted to point out to you. There are extra meetings that we've got in here. You know, we figured that after the joint meeting with the town council, we should have a better handle on what the town's expectation is. And that, to us, is important. Putting all that stuff together, the background information is time consuming, so we want to be providing it for you on the right numbers. But there are, I mean, this is a lot of meetings. And we don't know how many you feel are necessary. My understanding is that we have to have the budget to the town administrator by the 1st of March, by law. Although they didn't look at it for a long time after, we passed it in to them, but that is what the law says. February 25th, remember that's vacation there. So you get February 11th is an additional school committee meeting the week before, and you do have a meeting scheduled for February 25th. I'm going to be away that week.
Is that vacation?
It's the week after vacation. But that's very close to the time that we need to get it to Bruce. So if there are adjustments then that you would want to make, do you want to have that meeting there without me? Jane certainly can let you know what our thinking is.